Is,
When you look at this map here, can anyone tell me where they think igloos are built? How about Jacob? Why don't you come and point anywhere where you think you might find an igloo?
Canada, Greenland, Alaska, maybe Russia.
Okay, very good. Thank you, Jacob. Now, based on that, do you all agree? Those are kind of
Yes.
places, okay, why would we find them there? Why do you think I'm gonna find igloos up here, not in other areas? What do you think, Brooklyn?
Because the snow is better there and there's a lot more of it in those places.
Okay, so snow's better where there is snow, right? Very good. And there's a lot more of it in those areas. So that tells me that you know igloos are made out of what, everybody?
Snow.
Perfect. Okay, so we know igloos are made out of snow. Now, do you know what an igloo is for? Why would anyone build an igloo? What do you think, Gabby?
Because for explorers, like if they're out there in the snow, there's no like shelter, so they made igloos.
Yes. Have you seen an Arctic landscape? And it doesn't look like there's any trees. There's really nothing out there to get any shelter from. So igloos are, and did you mention explorers
Yeah.
would use an igloo as a shelter? Okay. What else might an igloo be used for? What do you think, Flynn?
They might be used for hunters. If they're far away from the regular home, then they can make igloos as temporary shelters to keep them warm and not out in the cold. in the
Excellent.
middle of the
Not
night.
out in the elements. In the middle of the night, it gets a lot colder. Temperature drops when there's no sunlight.
Yeah,
So, but I like that you said.
shape traps
Yes.
the heat inside.
Exactly.
And
Very
keeps
good.
the cold out.
But you mentioned hunters, right? So we have explorers, we have hunters, and they're building igloos for shelter. All right. Any other reasons we might build an igloo? What do you think, Jake?
I guess you could use it for kind of storage if you needed to like.
A storage igloo.
Yeah, you could like put everything in there while you go somewhere else and just come back. And,
Okay. Are you thinking like to protect maybe
Yeah.
some of your personal belongings or from animals or whatnot if there's
Yeah.
animals roaming around up there? Okay, outstanding. Now a moment ago, Flynn mentioned that igloos are dome shaped, so I want to talk about that, and I want to show you some images and get you thinking. And what do you think the purpose of this shaped structure is meant to do? Why would we not build an igloo like as a rectangle or a longhouse? What do you think the reasoning is for the dome shape? What do you think, Tegan?
Because it traps the heat better.
Okay, can you explain that at all? It traps heat?
Well, the cold air kind of comes in and the dome shape kind of like presses down or compacts like the hot air, so it keeps the cold air out.
Okay, all right, good. So it keeps it, do you think it's nice and warm and cozy in the igloo? Probably still have to have blankets and jackets, but it definitely keeps the temperature at a livable place, I
Especially
think.
if you have like
Hang
a
on,
little
Flynn.
area.
Mason, what do you think?
It's because like if it were a square, nothing could be holding it up; it would just collapse. But if it's a circle, it just goes up.
Interesting.
And if it was a square, it just
Very interesting. Think about this structurally. If I built an igloo that looked like a square, cube, or rectangle, I have a ceiling that's flat, right? Do I have any structures that are holding it up? Do I have like the pieces of wood that we have in our homes structurally supporting that? So Mason is saying the dome shape, because it comes in, it gets kind of smaller as it goes up, it prevents it from collapsing or falling down. That's very interesting. And when they thought of this kind of shape, I'm sure they had that in mind. What do you think, Brooklyn?
I think it gives them more area to like move around in there. If it was a square, you have minimum space, but in there it seems you have wider and more place to stand up, I guess.
Okay, well, that's a good point. Think about this too. If if this is a square, I can still have the same amount of space inside, the same living space like you're talking about. But at the top, okay, I've got, it gets smaller, and we call that surface area. up here, it comes to a very tiny little piece up here compared to the bottom. Do you agree? The top is smaller than the bottom? Okay, good. Delisha, what do you want to add?
With like why they made the half dome or oval.
Yep.
Because if you had a rectangle or a square, the top would fall down and it would just like make the whole thing collapse. But if you had the dome, it would create equal strength on each side. So like, if your dome was shaped like this, the only part that really didn't have like sturdy enough was like the top, which was fine because you did need a vent for air to go out too. And so if you came on a dome like this, it would be both sides would be equal.
Very good. That's engineering thinking. I like that. You're thinking about how is it structurally supported. Now, a silly question, but I have to make sure we're clear on this. What is the purpose of this? What is that, Joe?
Get in.
To get in, right? You have to have a way in and a way out. So this is going to be your doorway. Okay, so let me introduce. Good. Hi. Let me introduce the task for you today. And this part is super important for you guys to pay attention to and ask your questions, because once you get in your groups, the task is 100% you to design. So what I want to do is pass out this piece of paper here, and I'm going to highlight this section of it because there's a part that we're going to do together, and then there's a part I don't want you to move on to until you're in your group. So this part right here, just this top section, see that? That's what we're going to do together. So even if you look at the other parts, don't go on to them until I tell you to. All right, so who are my distributors? We have J.P. and Taylor. Thank you, guys. Everybody gets one of those, and you'll see right up here there's a place to put your name. So go ahead and record your name there. The problem, which I introduced, is right here if you want to review it again. You're going to build a circular base dome-shaped igloo with a door opening. So that's going to be the task. But after you have your name on your paper and everyone has one, I'll go over the first box below that, which is the imagine part. I think Taylor's got one. Are we good?
One more for Carly.
One more for Carly. Okay, Carly, I'm gonna let you use mine when I'm done with it. Let me just review the directions. Oh, never mind. Awesome. Okay. So pencils in hand, names on your paper. Your first job is called imagine. So before you start designing anything in science and engineering, you have to imagine what you already know about what you're doing. So hang on, Joe, I'll get your question in just a moment. It says, how is an igloo built? We watched some videos on that. We just kind of discussed, we looked at pictures of igloos, and you can see how they're constructed through those visuals. I want you to take a few notes on how an igloo is built, just based on what you already know. Why do igloos have a dome shape? We talked about that briefly. And what else did you learn about igloos through your research this morning? So just take a few minutes and jot down some notes. This is where you are just recording what you already know, because you want to go into your group task with all that in the front of your mind. starts with something. And then I'll know you're finished with your notes when you just put your pencil down and look up at me. Or you can look down at your sheet and review the other parts coming up, but just put your pencil down. That'll be my sign that you're ready. And maybe 20 more seconds just to wrap up final thoughts. Some of you are still writing. Okay. So pencils down, eyes up here. Let me go over the task instructions for you future engineers of the world. All right. The section below the imagine, here and here, you're going to be in your teams. So let me review what you're going to do in these two boxes before you begin the task of construction. So the first box, will somebody read that for me out loud, nice and loud for me? How about Jacob? Yeah, nice and loud.
Work with your team to decide how you will use the materials to build the igloo. What is the plan?
And that is a huge part of this. You have to plan first. You already thought about what you know about igloos and why they're dome-shaped. Before you begin constructing one, you have to plan it out. And this is what engineers do and architects before they actually, employ contractors to make any kind of structure. They have to plan it. So this is just going to be a picture that you and your team are going to construct together based on the supplies that you're going to get. So it's really important that you do the plan before you implement the construction. So this is a picture. You guys are going to talk together on how this is going to look, and then you're going to draw it. Over here, the create part. Can somebody read what these directions say for me? How about Anthony?
So read it?
Yeah.
Explain the jobs of each member of the group. What will you do?
Now this is something you guys have to talk about together because every group is going to work differently. If you all just want to work together to build the thing as one unit, just write that down. We're all going to be doing the same thing. If you think you're going to split up the work somehow, like I went, maybe if I'm on this team over here, maybe Gabby and Flynn are going to take care of separating the supplies, and maybe Drew and Taylor are going to take care of starting the base of it. You guys have to know what are your individual jobs going to be, or are you all just going to work together? Does that make sense? Any questions so far? Okay, awesome. So let me show you the constraints of the project. So these are your limits. You do have boundaries on what you can and cannot do. So no cheating, right? So here are the constraints, which means the rules. Number 1, you may only use the supplies provided, which includes, read them with me, cotton balls, packing foam, glue, and toothpicks. And then you have a paper plate in here too, and I'll get to that. The paper plate has to be your igloo bottom, so you have to build it on the plate. The final, you must have a written or sketch plan before beginning, and remember, that's the plan part, so you cannot start building without pictures here. Then, The final igloo must have a dome shape. So when you have planned it out and when you start constructing it, it cannot be a square or it's not an igloo, right? It has to have a dome shape, so you have to figure out how are you going to accomplish that with these supplies. And the base of the igloo must be at least 6 inches in diameter, and if you use the paper plate as your base, which you're going to, you'll meet that constraint. You will be within 6 inches. And then all lab and written work must be completed as part of the task. And so you guys are going to do these parts first, then you're going to build it, then we're going to stop and you'll do the bottom 2 parts where you're reflecting on your work and finding ways that you possibly could have improved. Now, before we begin, questions? Anthony?
How many cotton balls we get?
I just grabbed a handful. I don't really even have a number of cotton balls. But in your group, you have to decide if you even want to use them. You don't have to use everything in here. You can just use parts that you think would be useful, okay? And I can't give you any more supplies. Yes?
What if your igloo isn't complete and you have more supplies?
Then you maybe made it too long or too, like your group, when you get to issues like that, I'll be walking around and we can talk about it in teams. But maybe you're making it too tall, does that make sense? Like if you ran out of stuff. But if you are seriously like short supplies, I'll make sure you have what the other groups have, but I hope you don't run into that. Any other questions? Okay, so somebody tell me what's the first thing you're gonna do. You're in your team. What's the first thing I want to see you doing? What are you going to do first, Gabby?
We're gonna write, we're gonna draw our, we wanna do and do, write.
You're going to talk about your plan and draw it. And then what's the next thing you're going to do? After that, what's the next thing, Ella?
You find, see if you, which jobs you want, like, to what.
Right, or if everyone's just going to pitch in with the same job, or if you're going to split up the work somehow. But again, that's something you have to collaborate together to decide. Do you have a question?
Yeah.
Okay.
So for this one, do you have to write down like what each person's doing? Or can you write this right down? Like if you're all helping pitching in, can you just like we're all gonna help or something?
You got it. All right. Okay, perfect. So now, teams, you know where to go. One person come and get your supplies.
I'll
And get busy.
Sit over here, over there.
Normally it's just the first person gets it.
Okay, so what are we going to do? Get a bunch of rings decreasing in size until we get one big. Like stack them all up to make one. But the first 3 of the big ones, they have one buck missing to make their entrance, and we can make a ring like that.
Or no, you can look at the supplies. You can look through them and know what you have before you start planning. Separating everything.
I don't think we can delete packing paper. Guys, what if we put a yeah, that's what, yeah. And then you could put
stick them in.
Yeah, we can glue the room onto the tree.
No, we have to write down our
Do me a favor, do that, because I gotta put the camera back
Maybe we can make the igloo, but if it's not standing, we can have toothpick sticks or toothpicks with balls that connect. Yeah, you try that. I need to know that.
If you want it taller to like
Should we build an actual entrance going out, or should we just leave the entrance? Yeah, we should just do that and leave this entrance. And if we have enough.
So what's our
Should we make one thing and do it again?
Yeah, we can glue them on and then we can of just like
We should get and we should make sure it's 6
yeah, those sticks. So let's pack them up. Yeah, just the dome and slowly build up. And they have the cotton balls we can decorate it with. Little spaces.
Wait, Jake. I'm making a little extra.
Yeah, these are different. But for the inside,
And to do that, we can just that you have to decide if you want to implement it in your plan or not.
yeah.
Or look at that. You just do it like that.
Yeah, because they stick.
And build up the entrance.
Maybe. It's already done.
And then when we're done, there's some glue in our packing payments and try to do that.
We could still do like this.
Yeah, we can make it look like Hey, so what should we do? We can put in more gold.
There's cotton balls.
You write down our plan? I just do a
That was just because maybe you should move over here to mine and
There's a bunch of different types.
so all this could share.
We could use these for the more structure. And use these for
And you still have 1 minute to go.
Oh, you guys have so many packing. They're packing. They are packing. They're packing. It doesn't packing.
Yeah, the link, well, you can get the link to each individual video.
That's good. That's clear they're packing.
Right, because that gives them access to all the, right. I mean, unless you want to have access to all the videos. But, what you could do,
All right, 30 seconds to be at your seats.
you can make that a public channel, and then they can just look on. So in that way, so if you're making like school of education, like you have our school of education channel, then they can just look that up and then all your videos under that will come out. It's okay, bless you. Bless you. Yeah.
All right, that was the timer. I need your guys' attention. I'm going to count down from 10. they get to 1, you're not building anymore, and you're gonna be ready to share. 10, 9, 8, 7, don't count, that's my job. 6, 5, 4, 3, 2. Okay, hands off of your igloos. Now, there's 2 more parts to your worksheet that you're going to need to fill out because part of your grade is participation and the lab work, which is your worksheet. But before we get to the what problems did you encounter, do you want to take notes on that part, as well as the reflection part? I want you to present your igloos to the class and how you planned the dome shape and the door. Those were the major architectural structures that you had to handle. So can we have any volunteers? What I want you to do, I'll give you the mic, so you can just have 1 or 2 people share out a little bit about what your plan was and how you worked together. Display it under the doc cam. So Mason, why don't you bring your igloo up?
Can the whole group go on?
And talk about the door and the dome shape and your plan. So this is igloo number 1. Oh, okay. Talk about it.
Well, it's really
Okay. So we built the sides in blue, and then we just kind of stuffed it with a bunch of packing peanuts. And then we built the door out of 3 packing peanuts and we built out of 3 packing peanuts and 2 toothpicks.
Okay, I have a question for you. I would like to know, did you pack it full and the support of your dome is actually a bunch of packing peanuts under it?
That's all we only had.
Okay, whoa. My question is, structurally, could somebody go in there and live? Or is it full of snow?
It's full of snow.
Okay, let's clap for this group. Thank you. Okay, so listen. They accomplished a dome and an entrance, but it's packed with snow. So would this igloo, would it structurally serve the purpose of an igloo, which is to shelter someone? Okay, no, but does it have a dome? Yes. Okay. Next group. Let's have Jake's group.
It has a little room in there, a little room.
Okay, so we can get 1 little bed.
It's still gonna keep it warm.
You love this purpose.
You want it to be very warm with a
Okay. Okay, let's listen to this group.
Why do I have to do this?
Because you has to.
Oh, okay.
Okay. Talk about
So basically we just built the base out of packing peanuts and then we used the little roll and filled that with cotton. Not filled it, we put, wait, what, Jake? And it collapsed and then these 2 had to fix it.
How did it get fixed? That's important.
They added some toothpicks and they added a little more glue.
So,
Make a flag.
And they tried to make a flag.
but did you get it to dome at the top?
Yeah, we kind of
A little bit, yeah.
A little bit. And what is the hole that I'm seeing? Is that where you ran out of stuff?
Yeah, we ran out of
Okay, but it does have a circular base, and is it filled with foam and stuff?
Actually, there's like a little spot that's not, but
Okay, but did you pack it up like the other team to give it the structure? Or no, is it hollow inside?
not really.
Okay, all right, let's clap for this team, they got it down. How come I'm the only one clapping?
We had more time to actually done this.
Okay, let's have this group here share.
You sound like dog guy. You sound like you like some cow. I said food, but I'm
So we built this igloo out of packing peanuts, and then we made a plan to build the base around, and
Circular base, good.
then we broke the toothpicks in half, and then put one in each packing peanut, and then we put another packing peanut on top.
So then they were
We kind of
stacked,
just like,
stacking, okay.
and
How did you get the dome shape?
We put 2 packing peanuts in there for the bed.
Oh, so you put furniture inside?
yeah, there's 2 of them in there.
Okay, okay, but they're not supporting, that's okay. They're not supporting the actual structure?
No.
Okay,
No,
it's a
it's
bed,
hollow.
okay. And is there an entrance?
Yes, it's right still.
Let me see, okay, will it fall if you tilt it? Oh, I see it, okay. Oh, and they did it like how Flynn wanted to do the entranceway, I think, on their dome. Okay, let's clap for this group. Thank you. Hang on. Okay, we're only gonna hear from those groups at this point because I wanna wrap up with the bottom 2 sections. This is gonna be a quick write. So, take a few minutes and record 2 problems that you encountered in your group as you worked up and how they were solved. What did you have issues with? So make a few notes there. What was problematic? What was hard? Shh. Thank you. And then the bottom one is a reflection section. And I want you to describe your success with the challenge. What was the hardest part? What was your favorite part? So reflecting on the task, what did you like? What was hard? And then the improvement part, what were the problems you came into and how did you solve? And then I'm gonna take your igloos to the back table. No voices, please. We're not making the igloo anymore. We're making notes, okay? Follow directions, please. Thank you.
Yeah, naked.
I guess technically that was in the bag. Follow directions.
Yeah.
That's what we used.
The directions. What was in the bag?
Okay, it looks like most of you have notes in those bottom sections, including your lab work is complete. If you're not done, hold on to it, because I don't want you to turn it in until it is complete. But it is going to be recess time, so I'm collecting the bags, but if you have extra supplies like the foam or anything, put it in your bag and then let me have it so I can restock them for the next year. And igloos, I have 5 of them back there, but if you have one on your desk or nearby, could you take it to the back table? Good job, everybody. So you can
Well, this is pretty good.